All right, welcome back. What we're going to do today is we're going to make our fourth and final part for our hammer. As you can see, we already have the hammerhead, the handle, and the pommel completed. What we're going to do now is make this strap. So I'm going to go to this blue plus sign, and I'm going to type in my initials first, and then underscore, we're going to call this strap. And then you're going to click OK. It's going to take you to your part, and this one's a bit of a tricky part, so we're going to take it slow. We're going to maybe have a little bit longer video today, but this is what we're going to do. We're going to start a sketch on our front plane. So we're going to tap on the front plane after we click on the 2D tool, and now we have a sketch there. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a rectangle, but this is going to be a center point rectangle. So you can see how there's two different rectangles. This is the one that we're going to be using. I'm going to tap on that, and then I'm going to tap on the origin point. Remember, always start on the origin. Once I do that, I'm going to make a random sized rectangle. We're going to adjust the size in just a second. So once we make that, let's also remember to turn off our right and top just for now since we're not using it. So top plane and right plane can go away. And what we're going to do is we're going to dimension that rectangle. So I'm going to go to the 2D tool. I'm going to go to dimension. And then I'm going to tap on this top line. I'm going to change that to 0.5. Okay, 0.5 for that top line. And then I'm going to tap the right side line. And I'm going to make that 0.25. All right. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a second rectangle right underneath it. So this one is going to be a little bit of a cool trick. I'm going to go to the 2D tool. I'm going to go to the center point rectangle again. And this time I'm going to tap and hold right underneath the rectangle that I just made. Tap and hold. And when I do that, you can see that we get this dotted line. That lets me know that I am able to be right underneath. The center point of my newly created rectangle will be right underneath, directly underneath my first rectangle. So you see that dotted line, that's what we want. And it doesn't really matter how close or how far. I'm just gonna let go right here. So that's gonna be where my rectangle starts. And then I'm gonna tap and drag this again. Now it's gonna make that rectangle. And I can just kind of, again, randomly make that. And then I'm going to show you kind of like a cool dimensioning, or I guess geometric constraint. So right here, if I want that rectangle to be the exact same size as the previously dimensioned rectangle, all I have to do is go to my 2D tool, my pen tool up here, and then you're going to see that we have something called equal right there. Now, if I tap it right now, it's going to give me a red box and say, hey, you got to select your lines first. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to say, I want this line and this line. Whoops. Oh, I'm using my rectangle tool right now. I'm going to undo that. Whoops. I'm going to get out of my rectangle tool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap this line and tap this line. I think that they should be equal in length. So I'm going to tap both of them, go to my 2D pen tool, and I'm going to tap the equal sign. And now once I do that, they will be the equal length there. They'll both be 0.5. I'm going to do the exact same thing with the line on the right, and I'm going to go back and say equal right here. All right, so both of those are now equal. They are on the same line as far as the center points go. So that's what I want right there. And then the last thing I'll do is I'm going to dimension them from each other. So I'm going to go to my 2D tool, I'm going to go to dimension, and I'm just going to tap this bottom line and this top line. That's going to let me dimension them, and I'm going to make them, say, let's try 0.5 apart. Okay, so they're going to be 0.5 inches, half an inch apart. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish my sketch, and I'm going to turn off my front view, and I'm going to turn on my right view, or my right plane, I should say. So now, at this point, what we're going to be using is a new tool called Spline. And along with Spline, we're going to use a sweep. We've used that before. We use that for the handle. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go at the 3D box on the right-hand side. I'm going to tap that so that I can go directly to my right view. So I'm straight on there. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my 2D tool, and I'm going to select the right plane. And then I'm going to go to point. So you can see point is right here. We're just going to use this to help us out as far as like a reference for how far we're making this, or how long we're making this strap. So I'm going to make my point, and again I'm going to hold, press and hold, or tap and hold here with my point tool. You can see I get that dotted line again, and I want it in line with, say, the top point, the origin point. So about right there, that's fine. And then I'm going to dimension them. I'm going to go to my dimension tool. I'm going to tap that point. I can zoom in. I'm going to tap this point as well, and then it gives me a dimension, and I'm able to change that dimension to, let's say I want this to be pretty lengthy, so I'm going to do 10. 10, you know what? Hold on. Yeah, let's do 10. Maybe 7, actually. So 7 apart. So now that's around the length that I want my strap to be. We can always change it, make it a little bit smaller if we need to, but I think that is where we're going to kind of shoot for when we're making our spline. So that's good. And we're going to continue on in this sketch by going to Spline now. So I'm going to go to Spline, which is right here. And this is kind of a tricky tool. You're going to have to play around with this a little bit. But once I use Spline, I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to try going to my right view again, but I'm going to zoom in as close as I can so I can get that point, because that's where I want to start my spline. You can see that now. It's tricky. I'm trying to zoom out, but it's making me draw the spline. And what I do is I tap where I want it to end, like an anchor point, and then I tap that anchor point again to continue my spline. And then you can see as I move, it curves. So that's kind of the shape that I want my strap to have, like a curved shape. And I can let go and then tap again, and you can see how it kind of starts making a nice strap looking shape here. I'm going to let go there, and yours can be kind of like any shape you want. It doesn't have to be exactly like mine. And then I'm going to try to end it where that next rectangle is. I don't really even know if we need that rectangle. Okay, we could probably have just did a point there. I don't think that second rectangle is really going to do anything for us. But this kind of looks kind of like what I want. I'm going to hit the check mark here. So now I have on 2 different planes, 2 different sketches. The first one, the rectangles, the second one, the spline. And what I can do now is I can use the sweep tool. Similar to how we did with the handle, I'm going to go to 3D tool, the sphere at the top left, and then I'm going to tap on sweep. Once I do that, it's going to ask, okay, what face do you want to use in the sweep, and then what path do you want to use in the sweep? So face right here, I'm going to pick the first rectangle. Again, now I'm realizing that second rectangle probably wasn't necessary. We probably could have just had a point right underneath to kind of help us with directing where we want the strap to go. But anyway, right here, we're going to tap on the first rectangle we made. That's going to be our first face. And then we're going to choose a sweep path. So I need to tap down here where it says sweep path on the bottom right. Sweep path, no entity selected. I'm going to tap that. And then I'm going to tap on my spline. Once I do that, you can see that the rectangle starts sweeping through that path. I'm going to hit the check mark. And now it looks like we have our strap made. All right, that is it for this one. Again, please just make sure you name it initials_strap, and then we're going to figure out how to put all this stuff together. All right, we'll see you in the next one.